So we've covered an awful lot of information in this course, and we've learned how to do many things with both Vue and Go. But as always, there's more to learn. And the purpose of this lecture is just to point you to some resources that I think you might find useful. For example, this is a website called Vue Community, and you get to it at vue-community.org. And there's a link to everything I'm going to show you in the course resources for this lecture. One of the things you might want to pay attention to is UI libraries. There's lots of information here, and all of it's very good. But UI libraries, for example, if you want to use something other than Bootstrap, there's all kinds of pre-built libraries that make things really, really good. Vuetify, which is really hard to say, but it's Vuetify, that's a good one. So is Quasar, and there's links to all sorts of them here. And Bootstrap Vue, for example, is a set of Vue components that makes working with Bootstrap really easy. So have a look at that. That might be useful for you in the future. Another thing that we did not touch upon would be server-side rendering. It is in fact possible to render the pages at the server level rather than having JavaScript do all the work on the client's browser. And of course there's advantages and disadvantages to that, but you might want to have a look at this as well. So there's a link to that on Vue Community as well. There are also packages built on top of Vue. For example, this is a really good one, a really popular one. It's called Nuxt, N-U-X-T. And as I record this lecture, the version of Nuxt for Vue 3 is not quite ready. It's in beta, so it'll be released just in a couple of months. And once it is released, you probably should have a look at that. It does make certain parts of working with Vue a lot easier. It just helps to get rid of some of the boilerplate code that you wind up writing every time you're working in a Vue project. And the final resource I'll point you to is Pinia. There used to be a store used with Vue 2 called Vuex, and it was really popular, and it worked really well. But this one, Pinia, actually replaces Vuex. And in simplest terms, what it does is in effect replace that kind of store we built as a really simple method of keeping track of the user and whether or not they're logged in, their token, things like that. This gives you more control over it. So for example, you can expose the store to parts of your application in a read-only fashion, for example. And you can have multiple stores per application just to compartmentalize things. And it makes it really a lot more efficient and a lot simpler when you're working with a large Vue project. In lots of cases, the kind of store we used in this course is absolutely perfect for your needs. But when you're working with a more complex, larger application, often it's easier to use something like Pinia. Actually, Pinia, that's the choice. That's the one I would recommend for pretty much anyone working in Vue 3. All right, it was a lot of fun putting this course together. Happy coding.